Hello and welcome everybody to the Buy Round Free Agency Health Check Part 2. We're going to be focusing on each and every club. 17 teams in the NRL. We're going to have a little touch on Perth as well. I'm joined just by Brent Reed today. No Charlie. He's got better things to do.
What could possibly be better than this, Jimmy? What could he possibly be up to?
Well, I don't know.
It's inexcusable, really.
It is inexcusable, but I reckon we were in for a better episode.
Well, I think so.
Without
him.
him.
Have to listen to his gibber.
Yeah, he's actually put together the list of teams or the list of clubs.
I think he's left a few out, Jimmy.
He's left some clubs out.
No, some players.
Oh,
out.
some players missed some players out. Yeah, but we did the players last week.
I suppose,
yeah, we did. And then I know
so.
it's been a long week for you, really.
I know it's been a really
long week. In some form of alphabetical order that goes. So we're going to be Brisbane Broncos off the top. Then it's the Canberra Raiders. Then the Bulldogs, but I'm assuming it's the Canterbury Bankstown Bulldogs. Cronulla Sharks. But then the interesting one, the Dolphins. Are they just the Dolphins? Are they actually officially known as the Dolphins or Redcliffe?
I think they're actually known as the Dolphins.
But
I think he's got that right in Charlie's defence. The Dolphins.
The Dolphins.
Well, I think technically their name is Redcliffe Dolphins, but I think that they're obviously known as the Dolphins.
Well, any chance to have a pot shot, Charlie?
Yeah.
Even if he is right, we're going to make sure
stuffed that up then.
Yeah, he did. He did stuff that up.
Yeah.
Big decisions for some clubs to make.
Huge, some of them.
And obviously, with two new teams coming into the competition, potentially a third new team in the comp, it's going to be interesting just to see for those big name players just how far they're willing to extend.
I don't think potentially, Jimmy. I think that's a given. There'll be another team in 29.
So with another team coming in 29, are some player agents and players maybe going to position themselves, especially if all roads look like they're going to New Zealand? Is that going to be a factor that, or a club's going to look to try and... It's a negotiation.
I think that's difficult, though, isn't it, Jimmy? Because that means doing a one-year extension. Because we're talking about guys who are coming off contract at the end of 27, right?
Yes.
And so that would involve potentially a one-year extension. If you're going to be available to a club coming in 29, I think that's really difficult. I'm not sure many agents would be looking at that now and taking it into consideration, particularly because it's not a reality. Look, we all think it's going to happen, right? And I think it's a certainty to happen. I think there's going to be meetings in the next couple of weeks towards that, and I reckon it will happen. But I think as an agent, you take a real risk if you're negotiating now and planning for that.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Fair enough, really. Well, I'm really pleased to have you in joining us for the show. Last week was an absolute hit. The fans loved it. You know what?
They love free agency, eh?
I've been thinking about this, and I guess you compare our sport with other sports, and we're very different. I don't know if there's another model that would replicate what we do as a sport in terms of the year out, and it is strange to explain it to new fans or fans of other sport. Probably a bit complex, but it's in terms of what it does for fan engagement. And all the talk and people. It's part of the theatre, part of the subplots. I think it actually adds to our game.
I think, Jimmy, it's a bit like. It's not the same, right? Because football has transfer windows specific periods. But the fact you can sign a guy, look at Arsenal at the moment. We're talking of Vinicius, who's one of the biggest chasing one of the biggest footballers in the world, right? He's still a year left in his contract.
He's done a 6-year deal.
I know he stayed. I'm filthy.
Yeah.
But I think that's the closest we've got to it, except they're in a specific period.
Yeah, when a contract runs down, the value of a transfer decreases, and then now he's re-signed.
But it drives. You look at the English papers. Even though I love reading the English newspapers because I'm
the gossip columns.
Because I'm a Premier League fan, right? And it's even though blokes are tied to 3-4 year deals, there's always talk about clubs circling these guys, right, and paying a transfer fee.
Once the window closes after a month or so, or January, this team are looking to go after like a mid-season. So
we're a bit like that, right? To an extent,
yeah, a little bit. But I think it's great for the game. It's great for fan engagement.
Well, it gives fans hope, Jimmy.
It does.
That's what they want.
It does. And look, there are with obviously the regulation contracts. We're naive to think that some of the players on the list, some of the clubs aren't going to tap players, or players are going to aggravate for a release based on a number of factors: lack of game time, undervalued contract, or lack of hope within that football club. Is there anybody not on the list really that you think will be poached or be tapped or look as if their future lies elsewhere, especially with the two new teams coming into the comp and the tax-free dollars on offer from PNG?
Well, the talk came out this week about Jack Bostock. He's an interesting one, that he would go to November 1 and explore his options. And, Jack's a bloke who played Origin this year. His value skyrocketed. Dolphins have got a real cap squeeze going on at their club at the moment. So he was an interesting one that emerged this week, Jimmy.
So for next year?
No, it wouldn't be for next year. It'd be for obviously when he comes off contract at the end of 27.
But I'm looking at
You're looking at guys who might become immediately available?
Yeah, or that aren't November 1 that will be signed, because I think a club like the Dolphins, for instance, they've got a lot of players off contract, and it is going to be a squeeze. Now, say somebody like a Bostock, or even a Farnworth or whoever, if that player is allowed to go early, that frees up money that you can give to the players that you want to keep a season prior, which is a huge incentive for a player. If they're, especially somebody like Izzy Katoa, that would be on relative unders for his contribution to the team, you could look to move somebody on, free up some money, add to Katoa's deal the following season, which usually you wouldn't, and it's what's known in the industry as upgrade and extend.
The only issue I reckon the Dolphins, Jimmy, is they're in a window, right? I think they're in a premiership window right now, and that could close when the likes of Bostock and Farnworth go to market after November 1, right? So I'm not sure they would move on blokes early, because I think they think
we can do something.
We can do something the next couple of years, right? So I think you got to look there more at clubs who aren't necessarily in a window and who need a bit of a shake-up. So when I'm talking about that, we're talking South have tapped a couple of blokes. Isaiah Tass, Peter Mamazoulis. They've been told they're free to look around. Canberra, there's some guys at Canberra. Corey Horsburgh.
Yeah, there's a bit
Sebastian
of an oversupply, and also if obviously Ricky Stewart's looking at the supply chain of forwards and thinking, I've got enough here.
Yeah, Melbourne, right? Melbourne with we've seen Jack Howarth's name being bandied around a bit, right? And it looks as though I think Jack, at the moment, they're standing firm with Jack Howarth, but it wouldn't surprise me if Jack Howarth's on the move in the off-season.
Is that coming from Jack or from the Storm?
Well, it was sort of a mutual agreement they made earlier, a while ago, Jimmy. That agreement's closed now. The Jack was sort of given permission to have a look around, and Parramatta showed some interest, and Parramatta were desperate to get him, actually, and they still are. So, again, he's one of those guys, I think, who there could be movement in the off-season.
Howarth is a strange case because Melbourne clearly short on outside backs. Go cast your mind back to a week before Origin 1 team selection, and when the leaked Queensland team came out, Howarth's name featured, and it didn't raise any eyebrows. It was like, oh, right, okay, he's earned his spot. And obviously, I think maybe Jojo Fafita took that. I can't remember the exact turn of events there, but Howarth is a strange case because it seems like he fits in well at Melbourne, or he should be, considering their lack of supply of OBs.
Well, and the reason at the moment they haven't, the deal hasn't been done with Parramatta is because they want a player in return, right? Because as you mentioned, outside back-wise, maybe they're a bit short. They've signed Bronson Cherry, Jermaine Asako for next year. They get Xavier Coates back. They lose Nick Meaney. They're not. They got Moses Leo for another year.
I like Moses Leo. He has
a go, doesn't he?
Good player.
Yeah, and he's a rugby convert, right? I mean, he's only been playing the game a short time. He was playing rugby sevens, Moses Leo. So, I mean, he'll get better as well. So I think they've spoken to Rocco Berry, obviously. He's had a medical down there. They've got a few concerns over I think it's his shoulder. But that deal may happen. So if that deal happens, maybe they sign someone else. I wouldn't be surprised if there's some movement with Jack. But at the moment, that's not going to happen as I understand it.
Okay, let's get into it. Let's get our first club in Charlie's alphabetical order. The Broncos at the top. Now, really, I'm casting my mind back to on Sunday's show where you said that if the coach extends, then some players will leave.
That was a while ago, I reckon I said that, Jimmy.
I think it was...
Did I say it last
Sunday, yeah.
Okay, fair enough then. It was a long time ago. It's been a long week.
It's been a long week.
There's some people who are unsettled there. There's no doubt about that. I don't think Xavier Willison's one of them. Well, I don't think Xavier Willison's one of them, Jimmy, because I think they're going to offer Xavier Willison such a big contract. It's going to be hard for him to say no. I think he's got a young family, obviously settled in Brisbane. And as I said, I think they know how important Xavier Willison is to them. They've lost Payne Haas, Mitch Barnett's coming, but Willison's the future, right?
Yeah.
You've still got Paddy Carrigan there.
He isn't gone.
Mate,
Xavier Willison is
He's played a bit of edge, plays middle.
Good.
And I think they're going to make him such a significant offer that he will stay. I think the issue for them is if you offer him a significant amount of money, and I'm talking 900 a million, I imagine, Paddy Carrigan's not on that. And I think that's where...
The team dynamics
exactly.
and the talk in the camp is, well, hang on a minute, why am I the captain?
Yes.
And now you've got the young player.
Why have I carried the water for all these years?
I've dug the well, I've earned the stripes.
Yeah, that's the danger, right, for them. But I imagine, look, they're in talks with Paddy as well about potential extension.
Upgrade extend.
And I think they've got to give him one. Pat's their forward leader now.
Yeah.
Right? And I think he deserves one for what he's done for that footy club, over the past almost 10 years, right? So that's the balancing act they've got going on at the moment. But I think Willison will stay. I think they know they can't afford to lose Xavier Willison, and they will pay him a significant amount of money.
You think they get that deal wrapped up before November the 1st?
Well, ideally they do, Jimmy, but I expect they're trying to get it done. Yeah, and I think they will. Yeah, I think they'll get it done before November 1.
Yeah, it's that for me. He is the most exciting prospect. Love watching him come into first grade. Such a big body, like you say. Probably figuring out where he can make the most impact in a game, whether that's edge or middle. I mean, that's a first world problem to have. He's suited anywhere on the field. But again, I go back to that point, really. Is he asking the question, who's steering the ship?
Yeah.
And you said that they're going to make him an offer, a financial offer he can't refuse. But that said, there are other clubs that would match, and there's another club in particular that would go way above what the Broncos can offer.
You talking Perth or PNG?
PNG, and Perth would be mad if they didn't look at him as a
I think the other issue
as a genuine marquee, blow everybody out the water.
I'm told he's pretty settled in Brisbane though, Jimmy, and as I said, I think he's got a young family, Xavier. So I don't think he particularly wants to uproot everything and move. Right, that's the way it's been explained to me at this time in his career. So, as long as the Broncos make him a reasonable offer, he's young, man.
Yeah.
He's got a long time to earn a lot of money in this game, Xavier Willison. So, I'm sure they'll make him a long-term deal at good money. And as I said, it's going to be very hard for him to turn it down. And look, I mean, I don't think anyone can provide any certainty around the coaching there at the moment. I know the club's spoken about extending Madge. I've said over and over again, I don't think that will happen.
What's the situation with the young players coming into the team? They obviously they've gone with a bit of a strategy of signing some elder statesmen. We look at Barnett with the re-signing of Hunt, Dane Gegai coming back. It is, and obviously Billy Walters extending, which sort of looks as if Blake Moser doesn't have a future there.
No. I think Blake Moser, I'd be surprised if Blake Moser's there. If not, maybe I think he's got a year left in his deal. I think he's a November 1 guy. I'd be surprised if Blake Moser's there long term. I think he's got to look to move on because he's just not getting a look in there, right? I mean, they got Corey Pakes. You said Billy Walters, Ben Hunt's been re-signed. He'll play potentially that 14 role. or share that, or he'll be on the bench somewhere, I'd imagine. So, look, I mean, if I'm Blake Moser, I could understand if he's looking for the exit door.
Yeah,
Because he's just not getting an opportunity there, Jimmy. And if you remember Blake Moser a few years ago, they were talking about him as the next Cameron Smith. It was significant weight to put on his shoulders. He's had some injury problems that have held him back, but he just doesn't seem to have a future at that footy club. And someone will take a chance on Blake Moser.
Well, again, if he was going to have a future there, now would be the time to give him plenty of football games.
Yeah, well, you would think so, but that's not the way it looks.
Exactly, that's not happening. So then,
and the flip side of that is, Jimmy, I mean, Madge is not really under any pressure at the moment, right? But if you finish the season by losing your last 5 games and you win one of your last 16, man, you've got a tough off season. I mean, they're going to have a tough off season anyway. But if you win 1 or 2 of your last 16 games, mate, there's going to be so much pressure there. So you can say they should experiment and give young guys a go, but he needs to win footy games just to relieve some of the tension at that joint.
Yeah.
And maybe at the moment he obviously doesn't think Blake Moser's the best avenue to win football games.
Well, I guess that plan is out the window. We are going slightly off topic. I think that every single coach is under pressure, whether you're Benji Marshall with a 3-4 year extension or you're Michael Maguire with only 1 year left, or anywhere in between, Cam Serraldo as well. Like everybody, Coach Bellamy would be feeling the pressure to get back into finals. And if he extends beyond next year, if there's a couple of years without, then things would be reconsidered. And it is important for the Broncos to finish the season strongly and with some wins, because from my memory, I think it's only 1 win since round 8, which happened to come against the Panthers, with about 4 or 5 games to go. On to the Raiders. There's some big names that are off contract that obviously will be the absolute priority. Hudson Young, who I think we spoke last week about him potentially being almost over the line, but then Ethan Sanders also.
Well, yeah, Hudson Young's got a 3-year deal on the table. I think it's around, I think it's around the 850 mark with the ratchet. So it'd end up, when the cap goes up, he'll be $1 million player, right? And I believe there's going to be some talks in the next couple of weeks towards furthering that and trying to get the deal sewn up. Ethan Sanders, those talks had just begun, Jimmy, and I think Ethan Sanders, we've seen that as the years gone on, he's got better and better, right? And Ricky spoke about that. They got some forwards back. That's helped Ethan Sanders out, and they want to keep him long term. And I can't imagine he's going to go anywhere. I think they'll get the deal done with him.
Sanders and Strange to grow old together. Yeah, like that's the plan, isn't it?
Hudson Young's an interesting one for me though, Jimmy. I'm not sure. I think I said, I can't remember what I said a week ago, but I said it might have been close. I don't know how close it is.
You think he's reconsidering?
Look, I've got to say, he's managed by Sammy Ayub, and Sammy likes to drag things out just to try and squeeze clubs. No offence, Sammy, you do a good job. But
it is his job.
Yeah, it is his job. Yeah, and he does. It's one of the things Sam does really well. He doesn't rush things, right? I mean, and over time, it's Jeremiah Nanai is a great case with Sam. I mean, the Cowboys wanted to re-sign Jeremiah Nanai. Sam waited and waited. Jeremiah Nanai played better and better football. At the end of it, he went from being a player who was worth $300,000 or $400,000 when they first sat down to worth $800,000, $900,000 when they, and he's done the same with Jackson Purdue, right? I mean, the Cowboys wanted to get Jackson Purdue done earlier this year. He got better and better. His price went up and up. Eventually, when they did the deal, Sam got him a gold mine. So, and I think the Hudson Young one, I've just got a sense it might drag on a little bit, Jimmy.
I guess for the Raiders, it's about keeping that group together, bringing through maybe some young forwards to help complement what they already have, and then probably a bit of I think Horsburgh looks like he's going to move on, as well as Morgan Smithies, Matty Nicholson because you just can't fit them all in, and he's too good.
I think they want to keep him though, Jimmy. I get the sense now if Horsburgh and Smithies go, well, Smithies is gone, right? And Horsburgh looks as though he will go. I think they want to keep Matty Nicholson
as the bench edge, because you've got Noah Martin now.
Noah Martin, I mean, I'm not sure whether you can play those guys in other spots. I don't know. Maybe can one play lock? Well, you wouldn't play Hudson Young at lock. Maybe maybe Nicholson or Smithies play lock. I don't.
Well, Smithies,
sorry,
yeah.
Nicholson or
Noah Martin.
Noah Martin play lock. I don't know. I don't know what.
Noah
they're
Martin's
thinking.
probably he's probably big enough,
Yeah.
but he's killing it on the
I know
edge.
he
So,
is. But they do want. My understanding is they want to keep Matty Nicholson,
Yeah.
Jimmy. So,
but that might be one of those players that another club that need an edge back rower start to angle like we'll give you a starting spot.
yeah, we really haven't seen the best of him, have we? Just through injury, Matty Nicholson.
We've seen glimpses of
Yeah.
what he's capable of
Yeah.
doing. But yeah, Canberra, I think priority is keep what's there. They're not looking to bring too many players in it, or it certainly doesn't appear that way.
No. And Chevy Stewart's the other one there, Jimmy. Chevy Stewart went there as a young kid, hasn't played a lot of first grade, but he went there he was widely considered the next great fullback in the game. Hasn't really got a look in, and I think he's free to go if he can find a deal. Anytime now. He's got a year left on his deal, Chevy Stewart. So he's one. He's on pretty good money because they signed him, as I said,
On potential,
on potential, right? So if they can free him up, if he can find a home somewhere else, that might help them with some of these other blokes.
On to the Bulldogs. The situation around Matt Burton is going to be the big talking point.
It's been the big talking point all year, Jimmy.
Big talking
Hasn't
point
gone
all
away.
year. It won't go away, and obviously signed as a 5'8". Looks as though it's going to be more of a home in the centres if he, for next year at the Dogs.
See, I have a theory on this now, Jimmy. I thought Matt Burton would have to go if he really wanted to make big money. But Steve Crichton's gone so well in the halves. If you were to leave Steve Crichton in the halves, and I don't think it will happen, but if you were to go down that path, does that allow you to spend big money on Matt Burton as a centre? Because my view is there's some centres, like traditionally you don't spend huge money on centres, but there's some centres who are different, right?
There are some.
Herbie, Latrell. They're guys you spend big money on because they're just the best of the best.
Game breakers.
They're match
absolute
winners.
game, and they don't just wait for.
No.
Yeah, Herbie will go after a game and play almost like a second fullback or a second winger.
I'm not
out of the
saying Matty
backfield.
Burton's at that level, right? But I'm saying if you leave Steve Crichton in the halves, potentially does that give you the ability, particularly if you're not spending huge money on your fullback, which they're not, to maybe spend a bit more on a centre like a Matt Burton?
Well, Gus on the podcast spoke about, look, if Burton is going to play centre, then he'll have to be paid back like a centre, not like that one of the top 5'8" in the competition.
My understanding is they haven't sat down and talked money yet with Matt Burton. They've just spoken to him about
extent,
how happy he is, and obviously I gather they've spoken about the prospect of him playing centre, but I don't think they've sat down and got to brass tacks yet and said this is how much is on the table for you. And that'll be when the rubber hits the road, Jimmy. That'll be when he's got to make a decision about whether he stays at the Dogs for less or he goes to obviously after November 1, has a look around, sees and checks out what's out there for him.
Yeah. So I reckon there'd be a fair few clubs looking at him saying, "We'll play you in the 6 and pay you like a 6."
Yeah.
And then that's a decision for him. The Crichton one in the halves is really interesting. I think. Why would you move arguably the world's best centre, definitely in the top 3 in the competition? Why would you move him? Well, it seems to have had the desired effect, the desired outcome. But then when a lot of talk around Mitch Woods, and obviously had a horror run with injury, then if he comes into the team, then how much of a juggling act is that going to be? I think the Dogs need to figure out their spine in the off season, and all being well, everybody fit. That's the team that you go with, unless it's extreme circumstances.
The other thing there is, Jimmy, I said, if you haven't got a lot of money spent at fullback, maybe you can spend more on your centre, right? The other thing is the Dogs don't have. If Mitch Woods is their halfback,
he's not on.
They don't have a lot of money spent in their halfback.
No.
Barley Haywood's their hooker. He's not on a bucket load either.
Yeah.
Maybe you can get away with 2 expensive centres. Maybe.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
But and Gus will work that out. He's a genius.
What's the pressing priority for the Dogs? Is it maybe to look at an absolute top 3 position player in one of those spine roles?
Well,
or is it about it?
you're probably going to work out Burton's future first, right, Jimmy? Because that'll dictate potentially whether you've got another $1 million to spend, right? And then, I think it's to maybe upgrade your spine. You know, I think if you look at the Dogs compared to the other elite teams in this comp, if you say Steve Crichton's a centre, right? If we decide that Crichton's a long-term centre, that spine really can't go with the elite clubs. So, you know, I think that's the area you've got to address. Unless Mitch Woods has an awesome preseason, maybe then it's not as. Or you decide that Crichton's going to stay in the halves, right? Maybe it's not as pressing a priority. But if you decide Crichton goes back to the centres, then that spine, to me, that spine's not going to win your comp.
I still think Galvin has shown so much, and there's more levels for him to go. Like, naturally, I think he's still only 20. So, excited for him to progress his game, which no doubt he has the ability to. I'm not saying this with any knowledge of the situation, but I just wonder if Ryan Pappenhausen might get a little bit bored golf caddying. And somebody
he came out the other day and denied that. Well, not the other day, but about a month ago, didn't he, when those rumours are going around?
Well, I think he was on the 167 podcast and he said, James Graham said he'll be back by July. It's now August. You do the maths or something along those. I'm paraphrasing, but I'm like, well, it's just a guess. Because,
but if he's spent a year out of the game, right, and he hasn't been hitting the gym or... You know, he
still looks pretty trim.
Yeah, he does, but he always looked pretty trim, Paps. It's going to be really hard to get back.
Matt, it's achievable. Well, it's hard. It's going to be hard.
Are you
but
still
it's
back?
not
Are you saying you're still backing him in to come back, Jimmy?
If he came back, I'd love him in our competition.
Paps,
come back.
He's called
you
out.
Come back. No, I'm not called him out. Come back.
He's declared you're coming back.
No. It'd be. Does he have the capability to do it? Absolutely.
He does,
Absolutely. He's got speed as well. He's got speed.
But Jimmy, it has to happen this off-season. You can't wait 2 years.
No, it's probably...
It's got to happen this off-season.
So he's probably...
The clock's ticking on Paps.
Yeah, clock's ticking. So put your 7-iron away and get back to the NRL. The Sharks look like they're in a bit of a window at the moment with a few players moving on. This group is starting to... come apart to an extent with a few players leaving this year. Will Kennedy has shot the lights out again. Maybe he's just one of those players that needs 1-year deals to get the best out of him, but I'm sure he would love a bit of security and a bit of backing there, really.
Well, I mean, I don't know what that guy's got to do. Like, seriously. He's been so good. And again, they've got so much money spent on Brayley, Hines, and Braden Trindle, who got a decent deal, his last deal.
And rightly so.
Something's got to give, right? You know, and Will Kennedy, sadly, that guy's had to give a little bit. But, man, I don't know why Perth haven't had a red hot go. Perth haven't signed him. If you're PNG, right, why wouldn't you potentially sign Will Kennedy? I know they've got fullback options, right? But, you know, if you decide you're going to play Manu and Lomax in the centres or on the wing, why wouldn't you have a go at Will Kennedy? Because, mate, that guy, like, if there were doubts over him, and there probably were, right?
Mate, they've been put to bed.
Yeah. He's so good.
I agree. Probably Sharks keeping hold of the players that they've currently got. They've lost a couple.
Yeah.
That's a priority, making sure that they keep everybody. Kennedy's the only name of note, really, that's off contract for them.
And again, Jimmy, it's interesting to see whether what Will's willing to take to stay, right?
Yeah.
Because at some point
he's going to get his head turned.
He's going to stop going.
Yeah.
Why am I the bloke always taking cut price deals to start this footy club, right?
And he'd be right to think that.
Yeah, because the way he's played, I mean, you know, he's not the best of the best. He's not the most. He's not the elite, but he's not far beyond. Not far behind him.
And he's doing enough for that club to win a long-term deal. The Dolphins,
man,
half their squad off contract. They've got some big issues to solve. Where the priority lies, the farm wave to Roosters. guessing, rumour, innuendo won't seem to go away. They've got some huge names off contract. Let's go through them. Bostock, Cobbo, Farnworth, Finifuiaki, Flegler, Knowles, Hammer, Fuller, Lemuelu, who I'm a big fan of.
Love Lemuelu, Lemuelu.
It's hard to know if they can. I don't think they can keep them all.
Not
with 2 or 3 teams coming into the comp. They just can't. You can't keep them all. Some of them are going to get their head turned.
And obviously the other issue, Jimmy, is they've got Isaiah Katoa, who's on.
Yes.
Going to get a massive upgrade at some point.
And that's probably in the short.
I think he's off at the end of maybe 28.
Yeah, you got to get him upgraded for.
Yeah. You've probably got to upgrade him in 28 and try and extend him, right? So that's going to eat into their ability to keep these guys as well, because they're going to have to give a little bit more money to Isaiah Katoa, I imagine. Look, I mean, they've started talking to Hammer and Finifuiaki. I think if Bostock and Farnworth hit November 1, they're gone.
They're gone.
They're not going to keep them. And the way it sounds, Bostock's definitely going to November 1 for whatever reason. I don't know. And look, we'd all be stunned if Herbie's not on the market November 1. So...
Because Herbie only did a 12-month extension.
Yeah.
You know what you were saying before
Yeah.
about that? Clubs, player managers would have to instruct their players to do a 1-year deal. Well, Farnworth was one that did it.
Well, he backed himself.
Was that with a view of R360 maybe? I
think it was, Jimmy, yeah. See, that's the other thing. That threat's not there anymore, right?
Yeah.
So, I think it was with a view to that. And I think maybe I wouldn't rule out rugby union for Herbie, but I think, obviously, as you mentioned, we've all heard the Roosters rumours. They won't go away. And, I think, as I said, I think if he gets to November 1, he'll be really tough for them to keep.
Yeah.
And again, he's one of the players I mentioned earlier, Jimmy. Now, Herbie's a centre, right? But he's not your regulation centre. Like, I'd pay him, if I'm a club, I'd pay him top dollar. Top dollar. I'd pay him fullback money.
Oh, well, that's what he's going to command.
Yeah.
Like that's what his market price is. It would be around the $1 million to 1.2 on
with a ratchet.
With a ratchet.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm talking about today's money.
Yeah.
Today's money would be the $1 million to 1.2 on today's money. And then can you do that? Because the Hammer as well, that would be another player that would be $1 million to 1.2. Yep. Like I'm not going to beyond what the expectations would be, right?
No.
But if you've got the Hammer on 1.2, Farnworth on 1.2, Izzy Katoa on.
Well, Izzy Katoa will get 1.5 on the open market, don't you? I think. Well,
yeah.
Sorry, that's probably what the top
the
players in the game are playing.
Yeah.
He's probably not quite there yet, but he'd get 1.25 on the open market, easy.
And
that's I'm saying now, not in 28 when the cap goes through the roof.
Can they afford that?
Well, that's the difficulty.
That's probably the question. Can they afford?
Only if blokes take unders, Jimmy. And
if all the blokes take it.
Yeah.
See, I wonder if they get all three of them in the room or the leader of the three of them get them all together and say, we're all going to take a little bit of a haircut here. We've seen this happen before at clubs. I think Manly did it one. There was a time. I think the Dogs did it at a time. I think the Broncos did it at a time. We're talking about some historical moments in the game where a pact of players have come together. I wonder if that's the pack that come together and say, we can do something special here, or we can maybe go our separate ways, or one or two of us stay. But I think for the Dolphins to be a premiership contender, I'm not telling anybody anything they don't know, but those three together very much increase the likelihood, and
I think
then encourage other players to take less.
I think the only problem there is, Jimmy, there's going to be so much money on the table for these guys that to take pay cuts it's
not a pay cut. It's a shit. So if you had Farnworth, if you said, look, Herbie, we'll give you 1 instead of the 1.2.
Yeah.
The Hammer will give you 1 instead of the 1.2, and Katoa will give you 1 or 1 instead of the 1.25. Then everybody stays for less instead of taking a pay cut, and they're still big contracts.
Yeah. I don't know.
That's the.
You're a romantic, ain't you, Jimmy?
Well, I'd like to see this this Dolphin. I think what they've got going up at the Dolphins is a beautiful thing. And the new kids on the block, they, their style. I love their style of football that they produce most weeks. They do have a shocker in them, and it's important that they keep them all.
I think the other thing they've got in their favour, though, Jimmy, is they're a great development club. Like I spoke about it the other day. I think they are like the Penrith of Southeast Queensland because they've got great production line. If you look at their the junior squads up there, the elite junior representative teams, there's Dolphins everywhere, right? They just produce players. So we've seen it at Penrith. You've had to let guys go over the years, and they brought through people to replace them. I think they've got that capacity because they just churn out players, that Redcliffe production line, that I think inevitably they know they're going to have to let some guys go. But they know they've got guys coming through as well. You can't hold those blokes back, Jimmy.
No, that's true.
That's the problem.
Well, it's a great problem to have.
Yeah.
If you were in charge and you could only pick one of Farnworth and Hammer, which one? You can only keep one.
Oh, geez, Jimmy, that's a tough call. I'd probably keep the Hammer. I don't know why, but I'd probably keep the Hammer.
Okay.
You keep Farnworth?
Farnworth and put Fuller in fullback.
Okay. All right.
And as well, Herbie Farnworth can't play Origin. And all this talk about you need Origin players, the stat, I get that. Herbie Farnworth is an Origin player, but you don't lose him for 6 weeks.
I think the other issue is, though, Jimmy, you're more realistically going to keep Hammer than Herbie.
And
so you've got to take the bird in the hand, Jimmy, because I think he'll stay.
What's that phrase, the bird in the hand?
Rather than two in the bush or something.
What an awful
Hammer's
phrase.
the bird in the hand, man.
He's the bird in the hand. Yeah.
Rather than Bostock and Farnworth, they're the two in the bush.
Great pub in St Helens called Bed Inth Thand. But anyway, we move on. The Titans. I'd definitely try and get Farnworth, and put Fuller at fullback. The Titans, we're recording this the day after the night before of their game against the Cowboys. I think Zane Harrison was noticeable by his absence. The last tackle plays from the Titans' perspective just wasn't on, and this young, fresh-faced halfback, Danganay mentioned it in the commentary, we don't like to say it added a 0 to their contract because it's not going to tenfold increase, but I certainly think some of that, the primary digit increases by a couple.
Well, this is another moment of Sammy Ayu brilliance.
Yes.
And I don't want to rap Sammy. I don't speak to Sammy a lot, but
is he a Sammy Ayu guy?
He's a Sammy Ayu guy. And again, the Titans have tried to sign him, and Sammy's been just taking his time, and this bloke's value just keeps going up. So Sammy's again pulled the right rein with Zane Harrison, because he also, and the interesting part of this is, Jimmy, and the whisper has been that, yes, the PNG Chiefs want Nathan Cleary. Yes, the PNG Chiefs want Sammy Walker. But if they miss those two guys...
He's next,
right?
Do you think he'd go?
I don't. Look, I don't think so. But, again, it's a lot of money.
But is he the right age? Because he's very, very young.
Well, he's young.
I think it's not just a deal, but it's a set of circumstances that your everyday life, it is going to look very different. And I think it's more suited for people with families than it is for a young player. I don't know his situation. He could have a young family. I don't know, but I'm not sure if that move will happen. But wow, he has skyrocketed to a big deal coming his way. And I think we've seen it in his performances. He's been excellent this year. And there was a field goal that he kicked in. Was it the game against Penrith? He knocked that field goal. I can't remember. There was a field goal. He just cool as a cucumber. Yeah. And then, like I say, looking at last night's game, he was noticeable by him not being there. You're like, where's the last tackle play coming from?
Yeah. Well, his value just keeps going up, as you said, Jimmy. And look, they're desperate to keep him, obviously. That's well known. They're trying to get a deal done. But the longer it goes on, the more valuable he becomes, the more his price soars. And probably the more difficult it's going to be for them.
And they're trying to build something there at the Titans
are.
around like youth development club, like bringing players through a lot of not Gold Coast juniors, but players that have come through the system. Two others, Jojo Fafita, an Origin player now, Cooper Bai, who will be in the sights of PNG too.
Yeah, and Jojo, I'm not sure Jojo's in any rush to get a deal done because we're going to find out. We're actually going to find out in November where the centre market is, right?
Yeah.
Because Bostock, as I said, he's probably going to go November 1. Now, he's probably a good guide for Jojo. Both played Origin this year. You know, Bostock goes to market, gets a big deal. Jojo's got every right to go.
But then you lose a bit of bargaining power. It'd be interesting to know where, if a club's in for a centre, just where they go. Like, do you go to Bostock first? Do you go to Fafita first? Do you go to Matt Burton first?
Yeah. Well, I don't think clubs are looking at Burton as a centre, though, are they, Jim? I think they're looking at him as a six,
true.
right?
Yeah.
Jojo and Bostock. I mean, Bostock's a bit younger. Yeah, I don't. But again, those two guys, they can basically take a guide off each other.
Yeah, domino, right? And also there'll be a domino effect. And I wonder if either of those two move, it's probably going to be the club come to them and say, we're not interested in the other.
Jojo's also a rugby kid too, Jimmy. That's the other thing. Rugby union would, I imagine, happily take Jojo for feeder back. So he's got that string to his bow as well, right? That lever he can potentially pull. Cooper Bye's an interesting one as well. I mean, we all know PNG are going to have red hot go Cooper Bye.
Yeah.
You know, he's going to cost the Titans a lot of money to keep.
And he's one again that I think he will go to November 1, not to test his market, not to test his value on the open market, but I think the best is yet to come. So he might just back himself to have 8 to 10 weeks of football in the NRL next season to showcase what he's actually capable of doing. Not and no other reason, because I think we've seen glimpses of what he's capable of, but nowhere near. Like, this guy looks like he's about to go 2 or 3 gears in the right direction.
And November 1 doesn't worry him, Jimmy. If you remember, he did the tour last year. Remember, he went to the Roosters, he met Melbourne. I think he met Penrith as well, from memory. So he's done the rounds before. He's an old hand at that. He's a young bloke, but an old hand at doing the rounds. And again, like, obviously, we all think PNG are going to have a go at him. I'm certain Melbourne will have another lash at him. Like, you know, it's obviously his dad, Marcus, played down there, and they went big at him last time he came off contract. I'd imagine, you know, potentially the Roosters have got a great relationship with his agency group. He's with the same agency as Teddy, DCE, Herbie. You know, so
what are you trying to say?
Just they get on well with that management group.
They do have according to Charlie's notes here, more than half their squad off contract. So looks like they're going to have some big decisions to make, or they're looking at making a move for someone. But they've never really been a club that have had massive success when going to bring recruits to them. Oh, sorry, I should say Tino. But then when you think of the was it Harrison? Ash
Harrison.
Ash Harrison, yeah. Spent big money on him. It just didn't work. I think
Ash Taylor,
yeah. Like they've changed their philosophy of we're going to be a production line, and for me, it's probably about keeping as many of those as possible.
Yeah, I agree, Jimmy. I think Josh is trying to build something that you can see it, right? And that's about keeping the blokes you got and building from within.
Manly Seagulls, Hopawate available. All the Trebojeviches off contract together. The brothers, hey, what a nightmare. A Tony Large, one of the a hot prospect coming into November 1. Where do they go? And this for Kieran Foran, who will be involved with his baptism of fire, Fosball. Then sort of. They've got some work to do, and they could still play finals. But in terms of like the X's and O's, we know Foran is going to be fine with that. But now comes a different test.
Yeah.
In his coaching career.
Well, I mean, the Hopawate name is synonymous with Manly, and I'd find it very hard to believe that Lehigh would go. I mean, he's been great this year, I reckon, Lehigh. And you know, I think Manly will keep him. The Trebojevic is interesting, right?
But then, sorry, just Hopawate. You also have Kohler in those outside backs.
I think the guy's a winger now, right? I think that's
Yeah.
he's been great in the wing for them this year. Played a bit of fullback.
Falalo as well. Like,
yeah, he's been extended.
And with Tommy, like, yeah, you've also got Jason Saab in the mix. Obviously, Ruben Garrick moving on.
Yeah,
it's a lot of the
same stuff at Toa for next year.
Right. Okay.
I don't think there'll be any rush to extend the Trebojeviches. Sorry, Jake and Tom in particular. Not so much Ben. Ben's been really good. I think they'll try and extend him. But I think with Jake and Tom, look, I'd be surprised if Jake goes beyond next year. I think most people would be. And Tommy's not going to agitate, right? I mean, I'm sure Tommy will be happy if the club takes their time with him. And I'm sure he's in no rush, Tom. So.
With what end goal? Like, is this, I'm going to take my time to see if I can get back fully fit, to see if I can be the best fullback in the competition and then therefore be paid like that? Or
I don't think Tommy will ever be paid like the best fullback in the comp again, because I don't think Tommy's shown he doesn't necessarily need that, right? I mean, he took a pay cut last time round because he felt like he owed the club something. And I think Tommy's view is now, you know, I don't know this, I'm just spitballing, that Tommy's made a lot of money for a long time at Manly, and I think Tommy's a really smart dude, right? I mean, he's used his money pretty wisely, is my understanding. And, you know, he doesn't need to be the highest paid player at that footy club anymore.
But okay, we've spoken about some of the figures around a fullback. And this is probably where the big decision for Foran comes, is what are you going to pay Tommy as? Because a haircut for a fullback of Tommy's caliber would be, let's say, the 900 to $1 million. Is that fair? Because you probably,
I think he's on the 8s, I think. But
at the moment?
I believe so, yeah.
Well, that is
or maybe that might be next year.
Right, okay. Well, that's a massively good, but he's being paid like a top centre then.
Yeah.
But then if his position is in the centres and wants to replicate that, you can't pay him 800 to play centre, because that's not a haircut position, is it?
Foz's view has always been, when Tommy's fit, he's my fullback.
Yeah.
And that has not changed, right? Regardless of the injuries he's had this year, Kieran's view is when he comes back, he's my fullback, because he knows how much he means to that team when he's playing at the back. Like an 80% Tommy's still better than most fullbacks in terms of the leadership he gives them, the way he organises them.
But then can you do this from the centre position? And this is all, I wrestle with this.
I don't think you can though, Jimmy. Like, he's at the back directing.
Yeah, but your defensive organisation, granted, but your leadership and what you bring in and around the training facility, in and around the game day chat.
Well, there you can. Yeah. But it's more the organisation when you're on game day. I mean, Tommy is, I'm told, Tommy's a genius at organising defence from the back, right?
But he needs to be out there.
Yeah.
So, like, I mean, like I say, I wrestle with this, is what is the best way to handle it? Because I think what's more important than anything is he's on the field. Like, in whatever position. That's the main priority. Okay, and then let's look at the ramifications of that. The fullback role is way more high-speed meters, and then therefore increases the likelihood of injury. With that said, centre significantly less. Then therefore, he's on the field more as a centre than he is as a fullback, and I think that's got to come into consideration. It's got to, and I know at fullback he can be his devastating best, but you can't just pick and choose when he plays fullbacks in the big games. It's not fair on the rest of the squad.
Yeah, well, you need to have a word to Foz, mate, because Foz's, as I said, Foz's view is he's my fullback.
Where is the focus for Manly? What did they need anything? Fogarty, Brooks, are they looking at half perhaps?
Brooks is an interesting one, I reckon, because I think we've seen the value of Luke Brooks to that footy club since he's been absent. I don't think anyone realised how important Luke Brooks had been to that footy club this year, and he's a November 1 guy, right? Luke Brooks. Charlie's left him off the list.
Disgrace.
He's let himself down. But you know what? His future's really interesting, Jimmy, because if you're Manly, I know you got Joey Walsh coming through, right? And he looks really good. But Luke's been so good for them this year. And they miss him so much. that I wonder whether I'm not sure they were going to extend Luke Brooks. I wonder whether they've now looked at what's happened and thought, maybe we need to revisit that. I know the one priority for them at the moment is finding middles. They're desperate to find middles, right? And they're sort of tinkering with the bottom of they haven't got a lot of money to spend. They're tinkering with the bottom end of their top 30. You know, they want to get that mix right. I don't think they believe they've got the mix right there at the moment. You know, those cheap middles who can
get a few of them overperforming.
Yes.
Like
that's Foz's. I think that's one thing he's really focused on in terms of recruitment this season.
To get some middles there.
They don't have a lot of money, Jimmy, for next year.
The Melbourne Storm, Cam Munster allowed to speak just to PNG, which I thought was a strange move. And it's sort of gone a bit quiet with that. And fair play to Munster for saying, "Nah, I'm not going to get on that plane and go because it's not a good look." I thought that was an excellent move, very mature move by Cam Munster. Stefano off, Coates off. What's Melbourne's focus? Because they missed the finals this year for the first time in a long time. We mentioned about OBs at the start of the show with people like Howarth, but where are they looking for in the market?
Well, I reckon a lot's going to depend on Eli Katoa, Jimmy.
Whether or not he comes back.
Whether he comes back or not.
Have they got a gauge? Have they got surely...
I don't think they do, Jimmy. I don't think they've got any guide at the moment on whether Eli can come back. I mean, I think obviously they want to give Eli the respect of giving him. He's so important to them. I think we've seen how important Eli Katoa has been to them this year. Like he's an elite edge back rower, right? And I think they've missed him so much this year. And I think in an ideal world, I think there's a plan for him to go overseas and speak to some people overseas. I think in an ideal world, he goes over there, gets good advice, gets cleared to make a return, right? And Eli comes back, is the old Eli Katoa, and they're a completely different football team when he plays. But that's going to dictate, I would imagine, to a large extent, what their recruitment looks like going forward. I mean, they've already fleshed out their outside back. Sasako, they needed a goal kicker, right, because Nick Meaney's going. Yeah. Sarko was crucial for that. He's still a good footballer, right? He's
absolutely
playing good footy, right? But he's a goal kicker for them as well.
You think they keep Munster?
You mean for next season? For after 27?
Yeah.
I reckon it's up in the air, Jimmy. It's going to depend on a lot of things, I reckon. I don't think there's any particular rush there on either side.
So you think Melbourne are happy? Well, obviously they allowed him to speak to PNG.
I think if Cam gets a big offer from someone, they would say, "You go with our best wishes, Cam. You've earned it." Craig said that. Craig himself has said that. So
it's strange to hear Melbourne talk that way.
Well, and really interesting to me, they re-signed Hayden Watson the other day, the young kid who made his debut. They've extended him till the end of 2030. And that's an insurance policy for him because he looks as though he's a talent, right? I mean, I saw him at the Schoolboys last year. I think it was last year. He was unbelievable. Captain of the Queensland team. I think he won player of the tournament. He's played 7 New South Wales Cup games this year, had 9 try assists or something. He's come into first grade the other night, handled himself really well. So, in an ideal world, I'd imagine Munster's there next year. Watson gets a bit more experience. The year after, if Munster goes, they've got Watson ready to go.
Yeah.
So
it's so interesting, though, because, look, and there are nuanced differences, but you look at, like, Cooper Conk leaving. I don't think that went down particularly well. And then,
but that was a bit to do with where he went, right? What they think?
Okay, I get that.
Yeah.
But if Cam Munster goes to PNG, I don't think they're in the competition to make up the numbers.
No.
I think...
No, but there's a bit more. There's a bit more understanding of why he's going. But there's so much money on the table.
Yeah, but I tell you what, I don't. If I'm a football club, I don't care. I want what's best for us. Like, granted, you've served us well, but at the end of the day, he's going to a title contender.
But Jimmy,
in my opinion,
maybe they think in 12 months' time that Cam will be 33 or 34, and they've got a young kid coming through who's going to be a superstar, or they think is going to be a superstar. Maybe they think it's the right time.
Yeah, maybe.
But they've offered him an extension, Cam Munster.
Oh, they have?
Yeah, they've offered him a 2-year extension.
And it's just there on the table?
It's sitting on the table. It's nowhere near the money he's on, but they've offered him a 2-year extension.
That's interesting. That allow him to speak to someone early, but on the same time offer you unders.
Unders.
Or offer you a reduction.
A pay cut.
That's a very, very interesting tactic. I don't know what to make of that. I don't know what Cam would make of that.
I guess we'll see, won't we?
Mixed messages. The Warriors. I think the question they need to answer, they've got the entire spine off contract minus Tua Picky. They definitely can't afford to lose both hookers, but both are off.
Did we speak about this one last week?
We did to an extent, yeah.
I said I'd keep Wade Egan, didn't I?
Yeah, I think I said I'd go Hilo.
Remind me who I said last week.
That's the big predicament for the Warriors, though, isn't it? Which one do we choose, and how they figure that out? What they can't afford to do is lose both.
They've probably got some gun kid coming through over there, Jimmy. It's another production line over there of talent.
Do the Warriors have traditionally struggled with recruitment, but we mentioned like bringing over like the gun Australian players. Are they looking at a centre? Do you think they can pry? We mentioned about Bostock, Bradman Best, Selwyn Cobbo, a couple of other like hot centres.
I reckon that's probably the one deficiency in that team, isn't it? The centres. So I'm sure they're exploring it. I'm sure they've probably got some young blokes coming through, Jimmy. But that's probably the one area of their football team that you go, maybe it's not.
That's probably the missing piece
to
the puzzle, isn't it?
Yeah.
I wonder if they can. Well, they'll know about their production line, or that if they need to go to market.
There's some good centres about to hit the market, Jimmy.
Exactly. Well, that's the point, and some that they slot them in that Warriors team, and they're going to be even better.
Yep.
But I think they. I'm not discounting what Wade Egan brings, but I think you get more long-term value out of Hilo. I think he's a great player. The Knights, what a year they're having.
Yeah.
Bradman Best got to be the priority, right? And you imagine he would stay.
I think he went to November 1 last time he came off contract and ended up staying anyway. He's pretty. I mean, he's a Newcastle guy, right? That's the feeling. It's a bit like Jacob Safidi. It feels like they're just Newcastle blokes, right? It's hard to see them anywhere else. And obviously they'll try and get those blokes done, I imagine, before November 1. But as I said, Best went to November 1 last time and ended up signing an extension anyway.
They're a bit hamstrung, aren't they, in terms of salary cap with Ponga, with Dylan Brown.
Yeah,
don't have a lot of they don't have a lot of money to bring in like a genuine marquee. But that would be those two, and then Bradman Best if they can keep him. They've got that bit of nucleus. There's
Fletcher Sharp's going to be a really good player, isn't he? I don't think they need to.
They're probably not looking to market at all, are they? They're looking from within.
Yeah.
The Cowboys, the last year of the Tamalolo deal, I wonder if he'll go again. He's back. He's back to playing good football. Yeah. More of a front row than a lock. Obviously not the same number of minutes. Jeremiah Nane as well, another one. But the priority has to probably be keep those two.
Well, Tomalolo's an interesting one. Do you give him another year? Or do you? Again, I don't imagine they're going to rush out and get him done. I imagine you sit down. He starts next year, and you sit down with him at some point next year if he's playing good footy and go, do you want to go around for another year?
Yeah.
But you wait.
Wait until.
Because, he's had the documented knee problems, and I don't think there's any sense of urgency around that one. And Jimmy Nanai's a bit of an interesting one too, don't you think? He hasn't played a lot of footy this year.
Yeah.
And he's on a big deal.
And they've got good edges there.
And again, like Sam Ayub, his agent, last time waited with Jeremiah Nanai and his price went up. I reckon right now, Nanai's price is probably at its lowest point. So if I'm Sam, I'm probably going to wait again and wait.
Yeah, to hope for it to...
Wait for him to get back on the park, show what he can do, and at some point necessarily, maybe next year, start the season with him off contract, just let him get playing some footy again, and his price probably goes up.
Yeah. I don't think there's any massive areas to need to recruit for the Cowboys. They look like they've got the nucleus of their team sort of locked in. They're happy with where they're going. They're obviously moving Drinkwater on to accommodate Perdue and likely the fullback.
Well, Tommy Dearden's the interesting one there, Jimmy.
Well, he's sort of come out and said he's going to stay, isn't he? And all this nonsense of moving to Sydney is off the mark. But are you buying that or?
Let's see how it plays out, Jimmy.
Ooh, Brent Reid. Parramatta Eels, 17 players off contract. Are they looking to make a move? Are they looking to get
They're desperate to make moves, Jimmy. Desperate to make
can they
moves.
get a big fish?
They're trying, Jim. They're trying. We mentioned Jack Howarth earlier. They'd love to get...
Would he be described as a big fish, Jack Howarth?
He's probably not a huge fish. He's not a marlin.
Yeah, but...
He's not a he's not a pilcher either, Jimmy.
No, he's obviously near the Queensland team.
Is that it? Pilchard. What is it?
Pilchard.
Sorry, Pilchard.
My uncle used to call me that. You pilchard.
But he's an upgrade.
Luai coming in at 6. The 1679, the spine. Obviously Moses, right? That's the 6 is still an issue because Luai is just a 1 year. The 9 with the silver. They're waiting for him to kick, I still think. And Iongi at 1. But they probably need they need another star in some form, in some position, because that's probably what they're missing. If I look at this Para team, it's so heavily reliant on Mitch Moses. And with the number of those players off contract, like I say, 17, are they looking to make a move?
Well, they've signed Jaden Sewer next year. Let's not forget that.
Jaden Sewer, great player.
And obviously, I believe there's still an interest in Spencer Leniu if he becomes available. And I think, I don't think that's dead in the water, Jimmy. And if they get Jack Howarth, it's a more formidable team, right? Junior Barlow, obviously, his future's got to play out as well. Yeah, I think if they can land those guys, it's as I said, a more formidable side.
You still don't think they need like genuine top 3, top 5 position players? Because that's the worry for me with the Eels. That they only have Moses as the.
I think Iongi's good. I think Iongi's going to be a really good player, Jimmy. And I mean, obviously, there's been the interest in Burton, right? It's been pretty well documented. But they got some good young halves coming through that they think are going to be good players. That's why they've got Jerome there for 12 months to give those kids a chance to develop. But if they don't kick on, they can always go to market and have a red hot go at Matty Burton. They probably will anyway. I mean, as good a young halves you've got coming through, if you can play Moses and Burton in the halves together, that gives you a chance to be successful straight away. And Rawls, obviously in the last year of his deal next year. He's going to want to win some footy games.
I'm just looking at their off-contract list. I mean, there's no one that you rush it. Well, they're probably...
Well, you've got to keep Tuivasa for me, right?
Tuivasa, Jack Williams.
Hopgood,
Cartonga.
I think Cartonga's been pretty good this year.
You probably look to keep them.
Mate, I think Addo Carr's been good for them since they bought him. Josh. And
just how much but again, I don't think he's a priority. Just with age, like, unfortunately, that's what happens. Like, he would be 30, 31 now, and
he still runs like the wind.
I know, but I just unfortunately, at that age, you're just not a priority. Bailey Simonson, I like what he brings, but again, I don't think Sam Rani, another one. I think they'll just wait and see. For a lot of their players, the Panthers. I mean, there's only one person they need to. Well, sorry, 2. Or sorry, 3. Sorry, 4. Sorry, 5. Cleary, Martin, Toto, Yo.
Yeah, I think Cleary, Martin, Yo are the immediate priorities, Jimmy. Cleary, they've already started talking to Yo. I think they're about to start talking to Cleary. And they've had some talks with Liam Martin. Those 3 are the immediate priorities. And I reckon, look, I think they'll keep Yo. They're very confident they'll keep Nathan. Right, that's the big one, right? That's the one we all want to know what he's going to do. And, I think they're reasonably confident they'll keep Liam Martin as well. So I don't think Papali'i wants to go anywhere. I don't think Alamotti wants to go anywhere. If they can nail down those guys, that's a pretty good start, right? That's, 5 blokes? 5 out of the 8. And then you got to see if you've got money left over for the rest of them.
Just wait and see. Well, they need to lock some people in. And speaking of locking things in, what about this for NordVPN plan, right? Locking things in, shutting off the outside interference. That's exactly what happens at NordVPN. You can protect your sensitive private data like bank details, passwords, and online identity from falling into the wrong hands of bad actors and hackers. Imagine if Penrith Panthers, they'd need that NordVPN.
Yeah.
They can switch their location as well. Imagine that. They just show Nathan a few movies. It's an absolutely brilliant product, and you can get the best discount off your NordVPN plan. Go to nordvpn.com/JamesGraham. Our link will also give you 4 extra months on the 2-year plan, and there's no risk with Nord's 30-day money-back guarantee. The link is in the podcast episode description box. This is a great offer. It's something that I use each and every day. You know, you just think you're using a casual cafe Wi-Fi, public building Wi-Fi, and it protects you from those dirty scammers.
Got to be vigilant, Jimmy, in this world.
You know what?
Very vigilant.
It's all fun and games. And you think, oh, it'll never happen to me until it does, and then watch yourself go into absolute meltdown. So great deal for NordVPN, something I just have on, switched on all the time. And also for those people that venture in a certain way on the web.
What are you talking about, Jimmy?
It sort of helps you out. You don't have to upload any IDs or anything like that. So, I mean, whatever floats your boat, NordVPN, make sure you get around it. We're on to the Rabbitohs because I think we know what the priorities are at Penrith. And look, I think most of them, the intention would be to stay. The threat of PNG for a couple of them, that's going to get their heads turned. South Sydney Rabbitohs, Latrell Mitchell, Tallis Duncan is the priority. Yeah. They've still got Fafita, Brandon Smith, Jack Whiten. Tallis Duncan, do you think he'll get done?
We spoke to him this week actually about his future. He said in an ideal world he'll stay at South Sydney. He wants to stay there for his career, and the club's working really hard to get a deal done with him. And as you said, Jimmy, he's their priority. Like, they put every contract negotiation on hold. They're focused on till the end of the season. He's the only one they're really talking to at the moment about an extension, because they know that if he hits November 1, he's going to be in hot demand, Tallis Duncan. So they're working really hard to get it done. Every indication is that he wants to stay. That's a good starting point.
It is. Latrell Mitchell. Do the injuries come into the conversation?
For me, they don't, Jimmy, because I've said this. I think that he makes them, without him, they can't win a comp. With him, they can.
Yeah, it's as simple as that, isn't it?
So
it's as simple as that. Like, yeah.
They're the guys you pay top dollar to. The blokes who can win you a comp, who can get you over the edge. There's not many of them around. There's Maurice, KP, Nathan, Latrell.
Yeah, Farnworth.
Herbie.
Hammer. Like, they're few and far between.
Yeah. And they're all
South
on big
have got
money.
one in the building.
Yeah.
And with Haas, Latrell, Cam Murray, you know, it encourages some of those other players to stay for less, right?
Yeah. And Latrell's a magnet for players. We talked about Jerome Luai being a magnet. Latrell's a magnet for players. He's a magnet for sponsors. He's a magnet for fans. Like, there's more to Latrell than just a football player. You know, he's a bit like Reece in that.
Yeah.
You know,
brings so much value to the organisation.
Yeah. So, you know, I've said I'd pay him top dollar. And that hasn't changed, even though he's battling a little bit at the moment. Hopefully he gets back soon.
Cody Walker looks like he's going to extend. Are they looking a bit further ahead in it for their halves? Aston Ward is steady, and he's still got improvement in his game. Still only young, so he's still relatively new. But are they looking at maybe, you know, bringing somebody in the halves?
Who are you thinking, Jimmy?
I don't know. I don't know.
I'm
just wonder if that's
sure
on.
If the Dearden thing doesn't work out in 12 months' time, I'd imagine the Rabbitohs would have a red hot go with Tommy. But obviously to see how that plays out. You know, they got some good kids actually coming through their system. They probably won't be ready in next year though. And again, it feels like if they can get, you know, maybe by 12 months with Cody Walker. I mean, I don't think Cody. I think that Cody Walker extension's I'm not sure it's that close, Jimmy, at the moment.
Oh, really?
No. I think they're going to wait till the end of the season. Cody actually spoke about that the other day and said he's waiting till the end of the year. I think the club's happy to wait till the end of the year and see how he finishes the season, Cody. But, maybe you buy 12 months with Cody Walker in the halves and then see what's out there.
And see if there's... You use their pulling power of the marquees that they've already got.
And Wayne Bennett.
And, yes, of course.
Super coach.
He can't keep... Well, he can. Don't let age hold you back.
Yeah.
The Dragons been very, very active.
Yeah.
I think Gutherson, Val Holmes, like in all likelihood, that will be the end of their tenure, which gives them some money. Is all that money gone on the re-signing of the young forwards, which a lot has changed within the last week? Both the Couchman boys done, Pacifica Tongia done. They've obviously got Key on there. Their spine looks like it's set. Watson only a 12-month deal, but Phil Sami, pretty good outside back. I'm sure that he'll improve them, but that's probably where they lack a little bit if they're going to be the ultimate article, or the ultimate competitor. But they've addressed the issues of creativity. They've got that in bucket loads now.
Bostock's a Dragons junior, so. If he heads to November 1, Jimmy, I reckon they'll have a better go at Jack Bostock, the Dragons, and they'll probably have the money to do it because, as you said, Gutho will be gone. Who knows what's going to happen with Val. I mean, Moses Sully will probably be gone by then as well. So, yeah, I think Bostock's the obvious one that they might have a look at.
Bring him back.
Bring him home. Reclaim the farm, Jimmy. Is that what they say? Is that what they say?
I don't know. Oh. It's remarkable what Daniel Anderson has done in a very short time frame. There, bizarre that they didn't have that position filled in the first place. But yeah, the outside backs is probably just where they're a little bit lacking at the moment. All of the departments tick tick tick. The Sydney Roosters, Sam Walker's value skyrockets each and every week.
I reckon there's a deal's close there.
It's pretty, before the 1st of November.
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
Yeah, that's got to be their utmost priority. And then the next one is strange. Tedesco, just from a physiological point of view, how much more can he give? Like it'll end one day. It'll end one day. He'll stop being able to do what he's doing one day.
Yeah.
But it doesn't look like it yet.
But surely with Teddy, don't you think they'll say, I'd imagine they would say, see how you feel next year and we'll talk to you midway through the year or something. And if Teddy wants to go again, I think if his form's as good as it has been this year and he wants to go again, they probably keep him around for another year. Maybe he takes a little less money, right? Because he's at that point in his career where, things start, your pace starts dipping off, right? But I'd imagine if Teddy plays as well as he has,
But then if they're going to make a particular move, really, to the player that we've spoken about already, it's time to get moving. Or
but you just say to him, mate, play in the centres for another, play in the centres, and you can play with James Tedesco.
Yeah,
same management company. Sure, they'll work it out if it happens.
It's going to be interesting, isn't it? Yeah, the
Roosters always fit them in, Jimmy. You know that.
The public backlash would be, be worth tuning in for anyway. The Tigers. We always talk about the Tigers. They're last on the list. The priority is the Fainu brothers.
Yeah.
Headlined by Samuela.
Yeah.
Is this November 1? Or is this going to get sorted prior?
Well, it's interesting with him, right? Because they paid Terrell May so much money. I think that sort of set a benchmark, right? A bar that I think Samuel and his management are probably looking at going, well, you've paid Terrell this amount of money. We should be on similar money, right? So I think they know what the sort of ballpark is in terms of the financial figure. I mean, the whisper that's been doing the rounds is this is going to be just as much about the term as the money, right? There's been talk that they want a 10-year deal, which has been denied by everyone. So I probably shouldn't have said it, should I? It's been denied by everyone.
Yeah,
but
they've got all the bargaining power.
Yeah.
Samuela has got
Jimmy,
all the pulling power.
I just, I understand what you're saying there, but if it gets too steep, right, or the term gets too long, the Tigers have got to learn to walk. You've got to walk away.
Learn to walk, yeah.
That's what...
Learn how to say no and not be held to ransom and not say... Look,
no, because, for example, Sammy Walker, right, when Pete Bedell did a story in our paper that originally his management would be open to a 10-year deal, and the Roosters have gone, we're not doing 10 years. We'll do 4, right? That's what the Tigers have got to do. If it costs you Samuela Fanu, that's life.
Yeah.
Right? You'll find another back rower somewhere. I mean, the back row market this year, if they all go to November 1, it's stacked.
Yeah. You'll pick someone
go sign Lemu if you got it. I don't.
Yeah.
I don't think they should be held. The Tigers don't need to be held to ransom.
Yeah. They're good players.
As good as he is, and people say he's a great leader around the footy club, Samuela. But I just think, if you're the Tigers, you just got to stand your ground. Make an offer.
Put your best offer on.
Put your best offer on and say, and maybe have a little bit of wiggle room with it. But only a little bit. No. But, you always put your best offer down, then they go, well, what about this? And you somehow find a happy medium, right? But the Tigers have got to go, at some point the Tigers have got to go, this is it.
Yeah, we can't just keep saying yes or keep moving the needle. Because
it'll
cost them too much in the end.
Mate, Samoa's been there this year. The Fanus have all been there this year. How are they going?
Yeah, that's true. Have they got targets in mind about positions they need to improve? Obviously, losing Luai and the Dewey situation is
probably depends
it's delicate. Yeah. Let's just put it that way. It's delicate. Appy, they brought in Brayley. I think that's a great signing.
Good signing too. Yeah.
Not quite sure how that's going to manage minutes wise. Maybe he'll play a bit of lock. Appy off the bench, or they can figure that out there. But it's good to have him in the building.
Avarillo's coming in.
Avarillo's great signing. Fanua Bole off contract. This is another player that I really like. I know Terrell May gets all the headlines for being the best middle, but Fanua Bole, he's a different type of player to May. But geez, he's a good.
Melbourne had a red hot go at him last time he came off contract.
I imagine
there'll be his brother's down there, I believe.
There'll be a few coming after him. There will be a few. Perth Bears to finish off on.
Oh yeah.
They've got to get some big name players, right? They've got to break the bank.
I think they're trying, Jimmy.
Yeah.
But it's a tough market to be.
Is there anyone that they've got their sights on?
Well, the Burton rumour's been around forever and a day, hasn't it? And I'm sure he's still on their radar. Right, we just got to see what happens with Matt come November 1. He's an obvious one. I'm sure they're going to be in the market for just about every big name who comes off contract or who enters the last year of their deal on November 1. Because you're right, they probably need a couple of elite players. So they'll be busy come November 1. It's just whether they can actually get something over the line, Jimmy. Because you're fishing in the same pond as Perth and all these other clubs we mentioned, PNG, sorry, and all these other clubs we mentioned. It's a tough market.
Is there a world really in which if Perth don't start the season well next year and are struggling for wins, like we've saw this year, the Dragons had 2 wins. But actually, you look at them, it's like not that bad. 2 wins is pretty poor. Granted, there's a few games left to go, but if Perth on paper aren't looking as strong as what the Dragons are today, which means they likely get less wins and less performances. Is there a world in which the game comes together and goes, we've got to adjust the cap for them, like the AFL do with their out of traditional hotspots?
I'd find it difficult to believe the clubs would do that, Jimmy. I mean, there's already talk about giving them additional help with third-party deals, right? But I don't think they won't adjust the salary. I don't think the clubs would agree to changing the salary cap for them. So I think maybe there'll be some more flexibility around the third party stuff, but I'm not sure. I can't see that happening, Jimmy.
Interesting. I think
Perth's not a bad place to live.
Mate, it's a beautiful place to live. Beautiful. Going over there for the World Cup. England got 2 games there. Stunning. Played there before.
Junket?
No. All official duties, really.
Oh, okay.
Come on.
Coaching staff? Are you on the coaching staff?
No. Way too stressful. Way too stressful. They wouldn't want me on. Trust me. No ambition to do all that. Good luck to them, though. And good luck to the Perth Bears. I think there's a genuine willingness from everybody to want them to go well, but I still think they need some help. I'm personally of the opinion there'll be a readjustment. And look, I think Mal Meninga, legend of the game, they've got some good players there, but it's going to take a fair bit of work. And they need to get active and get some genuine marquee game breaker players.
Okay.
Really, I've loved talking with you, all things free agency.
Thanks, Jimmy. Great to be
it's
here.
been great to be here without Charlie Chuka-White ruining things.
I know.
Talking of junkets,
What a relief.
Talking of junkets, he is on one. Thanks for listening, everybody. We will catch you later in the week.